This is the Friday morning Courage Action Hour, and we have a few minutes to reflect upon our week and the courage that we've taken. And I'll just share with you, because I've talked about this with you before, that yesterday I actually mustered up my courage and I exited the Fearless You faculty. So that's something that I've been, percolating on for quite a while, because it just wasn't filling my soul, and it was making me feel guilty, which is not a positive thing to feel, because I wasn't able to engage in the way that I wanted to. Yet it was really took courage for me to say, this is not an act of disloyalty. This is not about anybody else but me. And I went forward, and I did a class last night, and that was my last class. So pat myself on the back.
Way to acknowledge yourself for having the courage to decide what was right for you.
Yeah, and it felt, there was an instant relief, and that can propel you to do that more often if you just ground yourself in that feeling of relief.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah,
I
and
love
just
that.
continue to have the courage to not go back.
I didn't even say I would come back.
I know, I was talking about myself.
Oh, okay.
Because I walked away from being the support team coordinator, and then they kind of pulled me back in. Yeah, so, but I did it to help Amy, and I stand in that support of her. And I'm committed for this year, but I don't think I want to continue past that. So I think I'm gonna teach someone else how to do it and pass the reins on.
Yeah. There's a huge influx of new coaches coming into our community, and so I think that's a great idea for us to let go and let others step in and support them as they develop their leadership. So, because Kelly's an amazing coordinator, and she can really pass that on to someone. So I support you in that, young lady.
It made me think about, when we do, decide what we want and what's right for us in this season of our life, how do we make sure that it stays that way? How do we protect ourselves from being convinced, or, whatever that might look like in your situation? Yeah. And it just made me think about, like, going back to the why, or what is moving in replacing that space or that idea of what you're letting go of, and what can be welcomed in there, or the space to have nothing, and sit with the thoughts from letting go of the things that we know aren't serving us right now, at least.
Yeah. And I think it takes courage to be in that space of doing nothing. We talked about that last night, and the class I taught was on willingness, and being willing to be stuck for a while and sitting in it, because oftentimes that period of stuckness is where we get clarity and we get momentum, and then we can make that decision. So that's one thing we talked about last night in the class that my final class, I called it my swan song.
Well, that's a beautiful visual. I like that.
I don't know if that's an old saying or what, but that's what we used to say when you exited something. That was your swan song.
Well, I've never heard it. It sounds beautiful.
You've never heard that before. Have you heard that, Stephanie? Yeah. So anyway, it is the top of the hour. I want to thank you for being here. You always motivate me to use my time effectively, and to just be connected. So thank you so much. Have a wonderful weekend and see you soon.
Mom,
But
can you stop the recording?